Good morning, friends. All right, well, Parshat Kitetse. It turns out that when you look at the Parsha, let me pause from this introduction. Cheryl, you are celebrating the birth of your first grandchild, a beautiful boy. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Mazel tov, Bubby. Cynthia, welcome back after the beautiful wedding of your children. Mazel tov to you. And Eileen. All right, friends, back to Parsha, but now we've got some life moments to share. Parshat Kitetse that we've been learning together is such an incredible series of laws, all of them very complicated, none of them very gentle. Happy birthday, Minna, on your 87th birthday. Mazel tov, mazel tov. So let me just read a section of the Torah. You might know this. It's a very famous part of the Torah. It's chapter 21, right where we were yesterday, but a few verses later, starting with verse 18. Ki hiya le'ish ben sorer umoreh, einenu shomea b'kol aviv u'v'kol imo, v'yisru oto v'lo yishma alehem. Here's the situation. When a man has a son, and usually I would do a post-gender translation, but you'll see why I don't here. When a man has a son, a stubborn one and a rebel, he does not hearken to the voice of his father or to the voice of his mother, and they discipline him, but he still does not listen to them. V'tafsu vo aviv v'imo v'otzi'u oto el ziknei iro ve'al shar mekomo. His father and his mother are to seize him and are to bring him out to the elders of his town, to the gate of the place. Then they are to say to the elders of the town, our son, this one, is a stubborn one and a rebel. He does not hearken to our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Then all the men of the town are to pelt him with stones so that he dies, so that you eradicate the evil from your midst, and all Israel will hear and be awed. So, friends, it seems like yesterday and today I've chosen the darkest stuff to share, but it's in our Parsha. This is the classic case of the rebellious son. Now, to put it very simply, the Torah says one thing, and all interpreters, including those who would implement the Torah's rules, say another. This section of the Torah says that there is a rebellious child who does not listen to their parents. Their parents bring them before the judges, and the judges condemn the child to death. Now, number one, the Torah has a lot to say about death penalties, and the rabbis believe, though they spend a lot of time talking about the how and the why, the rabbis believe that a court that sentences one person to death every 70 years is a murderous court, which means the rabbis actually do not believe that capital punishment is in the hands of a human court. They theologically believe that it is up to God. So then why does the Torah say so? To be a deterrent. The rabbis believe that with such fervor that they look at this entire section of the text and say that this is all a deterrent. That the rebellious child, according to one rabbi in the Talmud, lo haya v'lo nivra, never was never created, meaning this doesn't exist. And so then the Talmud says, well, if this child was never born, never existed, why is this here? In order to learn and to dissuade us from doing harm to each other. But I want to tell you about the process by which the rabbis eliminate this category from reality. The ben sorer umoreh, the rebellious child, they then read so carefully that they read him out of existence. Listen to this. When a man has a son, okay, so the father has to be alive, and this isn't about daughters. Okay, that's the first legal way to twist the words to make it much narrower. So all girls are now not included. It's not a rebellious child, it's only a son, and the father has to be alive. Now, stubborn one and a rebel who does not listen to the voice of his father or to the voice of his mother. Okay, so this child has to have rejected words that were said by the father and the mother. Both have to have spoken saying, do not do this thing. And they discipline him. The rabbis then say they have to speak in one voice. Their voices have to be exactly the same. Then his father and mother are to seize him and bring him out to the elders. They are to take him together. And so the rabbis then saying neither one of them can walk with any limp. They have to walk in unison. I'm sharing all this because the rabbi's discomfort with the idea of the ben sorer umoreh is actually a helpful tool for us to think about. There are parts of the Torah that are incredibly difficult to read, not because we are failing the Torah's standards, but that the Torah actually, in its pshat, in its context, fails ours. I know that's a complicated thing to say, maybe surprising to hear a rabbi say, but there are times where the Torah does not live up to what the Torah birthed. Let me say it differently. The unfolding morality of the Jewish people, which is anchored in the Torah but not limited by it, that unfolding morality is why when we read parts of the Torah today, we can't believe that they're there. The Torah is a response to the times in which it was born, saying not good enough, think more about this, treat each other with more justice, more equality. In the Torah's eyes, the place of women is much more progressive than the contemporary society. We learned that when we heard about the daughters of a man named Tzlofchad, who contested inheritance laws and had them changed on the spot. The fact that there was a prophetess named Miriam, the fact that Miriam and Aaron are treated differently shows us the Torah's own discomfort. It doesn't hide that. In these moments where we see the Torah's unfolding morality, where it pushes us to continue growing, in order to be Torah true, we have to do what the Torah has done. The Torah looked at its contemporary society and said, let's build, let's go higher, let's reach for God together. What we see is not good enough. If we are to stay right here, this part where the Torah makes its judgments, we're forgetting that the Torah is actually part of a trajectory. John Dewey, a famous educator, once said that a good teacher doesn't reach for goals. Because if you reach for some infinite goal, you will fall short and your students will feel frustrated and you will not continue on the journey. The most important thing for us to do is to see ourselves on a trajectory, to have what Dewey called aims in view. I can reach for this, and once I get there, I can reach for that. The Torah, in the most beautiful of ways and complicated of ways, is right here and says, keep growing, my children. So when the Torah shows us an example, and then thousands of years later, the rabbi said, that never existed. Why is that there? To cause us to learn. It is upon us then, thousands of years after the rabbi's interpretation of the Torah, to continue to learn, to continue to grow. We are part of a sacred trajectory to always reach higher. This coming Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, there's a tradition in the middle of the words of Kaddish to say the words Le'ela u'le'ela, higher and higher. That must be our goal, even when we look at the Torah itself. And maybe when we do that, we'll be holding the Torah in our hands as we carry it higher and higher. We don't let it go, we don't reject it, and we don't rip words out. We face them with open eyes and brave hearts, and hold each other. What a gift it is to know that as a living Torah community, we are on that same trajectory. Not always easy, not always simple. The texts that we see are not simple at all. But bless you, friends. Bless all of us that we should hold the Torah, love it well, and see the parts where it doesn't know us as well as it might and say, come, get to know me. Let's be in this relationship. Let's reach higher together, you and me together. So bless you, friends. Tomorrow, a little bit more of Parshat Kiteitzei. Now, let's sing our way into a good day. Did Bless you all, friends. See you tomorrow.